You have shatters, which are also great. So shatter and wax kind of started the industry. As we talk about innovating and how to have a bigger market share, you're going to want to go to products that are more sought after. Bubble Hash, this is a product that's made with ice and water. So even if we don't have a MIPS license, we can create that product within our OPC, which is our optional premises cultivation. If you go into crumble, this is a different type of wax that you can have. Butter, the same thing. Sugar, the same thing. So these are different concentrates that you're going to find on the market, but we want to focus on live resin, shatter, butter, sugar wax, and obviously the CO2. I'd like to expand our knowledge and efforts into the RSO, but there's a lot of different techniques that we'll have to kind of look into. It's really scientific. So this just gives you an idea. So there's predominant strains. There's sativa. I always think of sativa for sun and fun. Indica for in the couch, and it kind of just curates that creativity. So these are the most different things that are kind of controlling the market as far as sativa and indica go. So we're going to go over what these different definitions mean. So RMC is a retail marijuana center. OPC is an optional premises cultivation, which is a license that we hold right now. Then you have a MIP, which is where we want to make most of our money. This is going to be a marijuana-infused products manufacturer. So packaging is everything. Packaging is really, think about it, when you go to buy a pack of gum or a candy bar, you look at what's most enticing, right? So it's an impulse sale. So these are some of my favorite brands. They do a great job packaging. So this is going to give us a strategic entry into the market because people are just going to want to try it out, because in Colorado right now, nobody's doing this. So we'll talk about more how we're going to have a better kind of brand concept than anybody does. These are the joints. You could think about joints. Joints are super profitable. When you're looking at a joint, if you sell a joint at $5 and you do 1 gram joints, that's 448 grams within a pound. You're doing pretty good. If we do high quality joints, we can sell them at $10 wholesale. You just turned your pound into $4,448 when the typical average market rate is $1,000. So it does take a little bit more time to roll these joints. However, the profit margins are much higher. So total market share at this point in time for recreational businesses in Colorado alone, there's 286 MIPS, there are 548 dispensaries, and there are 739 different cultivations. So you're looking at, we're entering somebody that has a high number. But what gives us, a little bit more of a plan of attack is we're doing something that everybody else isn't doing. And we'll talk about that in the next slides. So market entry advantage. We're connected to 6 recreational dispensaries, allotting Greener Heights shelf space, leading to immediate revenue. One location generated $700,000 in revenue alone. Altogether, we did about $2.5 million. Greenwood Cannabis Consultants, that's my company, have earned direct connections to owners and managers with 9 years of involvement in the industry. So the Wild Wild West days, that's when I got started. So I have a ton of different connections, and that's what gives me the ideas to maximize on the deficits within the market. Brand recognition strategies. Instagram, it's a really big thing. We want to get influencers, because when you have an influencer and you drop product, they follow those influencers. Informational videos, that's something that you guys talked about, and we understand the value of that. We can do introduction of possible clients starting now. So why not get our sales team? Hey, this is Greener Heights. These are the strains that we're cultivating. This is the price point that we're going to get into. If you lock it down with us now, we'll be able to make those shipments, and you'll find that our product, we stand behind it. We also have clone sales already started. So we have sold 300 clones, which is good. We're waiting for the roots to happen. So we sell them from $8 to $10. So it's about $3 grand in revenue that we didn't have before. So we typically made money off of money. If you think about it, we bought those clones at $12. We grew them. They are going to create product for us as far as concentrates or flour, and then we cloned them. So we made money off of money. Marketing entry strategies. Innovating ahead of the industry. Nobody does that. I mean, you have to be proactive versus reactive. I think that's one of the strongest things that our brand will have. Contagious and packaging branding. So back to those initial slides, you can see that if we set ourselves aside, we're going to be different. When you talk about wholesale cannabis in the Colorado market, you get it in a bag, it's white labeled, you get to do whatever you want with it, right? You get to create whatever sales, there's no controlled MSRP. Where we come in and change it is, wow, what is that on the shelves? The only people we're competing with is Snoop by Leaves, and he's so expensive, and he doesn't do anything for his consumers that he's the last purchaser to have. I looked at his, I'm sorry?
Snoop by Leaves.
Yeah. Do they?
No, they don't know.
Okay, so does anybody know who Snoop Dogg is? So Snoop Dogg is a highly, he's a rapper that is really contagious as far as cannabis goes. So he's been in rap game for about 20 years now, and he decided to come out with his own cannabis brand. So he is the only significant producer out there that is connected to any other smoker. So he pre-packages his cannabis so he can control what label goes on it. He can control what sale price it is. That's something that we're gonna do as well. I think walking, talking billboards are super important. They can cost us $5 a person. So if we get t-shirts and propaganda and we give them out to the consumer, that's really gonna help us on our marketing point. Every business out here in cultivation at MIPS goes business to business. So we're gonna cut out the business, we're gonna rely on them, but we're really gonna market to the consumer. We're gonna create a contagious brand by having raving fans because we market directly to them. 5 categories of success. I run every business that I'm involved with by these standards, and I can give you a breakdown of what that entails. But essentially, reaching goals is our #1 factor because it takes money to make money, but at the end of the day, our ROI, which is our return investment, is super important. Brand recognition. Then we have operations, where we have compliance and different strategic things that fall into place. Human resources, and then at the end of the day, if we don't have our raving fans, none of this matters. Accounting systems. So we want to stay connected in our accounting, right? So once a month we want to have a conference to track our rate of return, rate of investment. So we'll call in, we'll have all of our spreadsheets from the 1st to the 10th. Typically takes me about 3 days to close out a business and give projections. We're going to have expert accounting knowledge to maximize tax liabilities and deductions, which is super imperative in our industry because we're not treated like other businesses. Most businesses can write off their cost of goods, they can write off their marketing. However, we have to be highly effective in how we do that. And when you're fully integrated, which fully integrated means you have a cultivation and a MIP, you have higher tax write-offs. Flower sales forecast. So for the indoor, we're looking at 260 plants, so that's about 43 pounds of harvest. We're gonna harvest 4 times a year. That's 172 pounds, but we're gonna have 2 rooms. So that equates to about $344,000 at a standard market rate of $1,000. Now again, these numbers can change by the packaging methods, like how much is our product actually worth. This is just what's standard within the industry. So these numbers can go up about 20% if we're very strategic and we plan out how we can accomplish that. A greenhouse, which is a really great asset to us, we can fit about 1,000 plants in there at 2-gallon pots. So we're projected to have about 500 pounds a year, and if you times that by the average market rate, there's another 500,000 in revenue. Outdoor, this is where the big money maker is, and this is what I want to focus our expansion on. So right now we have the capability to grow about 945 plants. We're projecting 3 pounds off of each plant. That gives us about 3,000 plants. So that's $2.8 million alone just in greenhouse, okay? So we're looking at 3.6 for the year. Year-to-date investment is $4 million, so that return of investment is only 1 year, which is very nice. MIPS, sales forecast, if all is utilized for outdoors. So we'll talk about a few different options on how we want to take advantage of what we're growing. So outdoor wax and shatter, we're able to get about 190,000 grams. We sell it by $8. You know, we could probably get 10 if we take, you know, the concept that we want to take with our flowers. So you're looking at 1.5 million on that. Greenhouse wax and shatter, you're looking at about 265. And then if you look at the diamonds, you're looking at about 530. So if we process for other license, so we can have a MIP here, but we don't want to because there's like a POA or an HOA moratorium that says we can only process what we grow. If we take this MIP into another county, we can process for other individuals. So if we do it here, we're cutting ourselves short. If we expand outside, we can bring in another $3 million just by processing for other people because they're gonna bring the product to us. We're gonna have an agreed price that we'll process it and we'll sell it back to them, or we can keep it and sell it on our own wholesale. And again, those connections that we fostered over 9 years really factor into those sales. So
Yeah.
total.
And that MIP isn't gonna be part of Greener Heights, it's gonna be a separate entity, so it'll be a different company other than Greener Heights.
And we'll come up with a really fun name for that too. So we're looking at 5.3 in projected sales for concentrates if we fully maximize, okay? Now revenue projections. So we talked about, okay, this is if we grow all of our plants outdoor, indoor, and we collect all of the revenue on flower. This is if we take everything that we're growing and we process it only for our MIP. Okay, and then what we do is we talk about, well, what if we break it up 50-50, okay? So total combined revenue, if maximize both OPC and MIP, is $8.9 million, okay? 50-50 allocation of product distribution to OPC and MIP is $4.4 million. So this is how you guys talked about excise tax. So there's a couple taxes that affect us. There's city tax and there's state tax. So city is going to be, for the county of Pueblo, 3%, state is going to be 15%. So it gives us a total of 18% in sales tax. So if you look at that, you're taking home $7.3 million off of that 8.9 after taxes, right? If you look at the allocation where we do 50-50, you're bringing in 3.6 million. 280E taxes are determined after deductions. So we have to have our business operational. We have to figure out where our allocations are going to go, where our depreciation use is going to go. This right here, if we don't do any type of cannabis sales in here or production, this can all be deducted. So anything that's on our property that's not being utilized, say our rent is keep it $1,000. If we have 15% to 30%, we deduct that by the square footage, and that's a write-off for us. High salaries are going to want to go into the cultivation, those are write-offs. So that's something that I have great expertise on, is in saving us revenue.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the investing phase. So the MIP launch, it's going to cost us about $750,000 to $1 million to get that MIP going. The OPC and expansion and 6-month operational cost are going to go about $422,000 to $550,000. Total additional investment would be 1.1 to 1.5, and you can see that your return of investment is within a year. Now, if you do your MIP launch, all of your expansion, as well as your 6-month operational cost, you're looking at about 5.1 to 5.5 all in the pot, right? And right now you're at about 4 million without these expansions. So if you look at this number here, you're already out 1 year to get your profits back. So if we can go back just really quick to where we were possibly going to make those different sales, where the MIP was, let me see.
You guys right here?
Yep, no, go to this one right here. So you can see on there, the biggest thing that we want you guys to realize is we are going to miss out on a ton of revenue, because if you were just going to do the cultivation, you're looking at 5 million. If you add that MIP on there, you're looking at 8 million. So each year that goes on, we're basically missing out on 4 million. And those market shares are only going to continue to change, because as a flower, we're at 40% now. It's possibly going to get to 30%, right? So each year we're just falling behind.
You have to reinvent.
Yep, we have to invent. So I think that $1 million infusion to take that MIP is going to be one of the smartest choices we can make. Because I don't recommend not having flower sales, because here we are creating market share that didn't exist before. Nobody's pre-packing, nobody's creating these contagious different brands. That's something that we do. So we need to have our joints, our flower, our pre-pack, a white label, and we need to have our concentrate sales. Can you go back? What's the slide after investment? Was that the final slide? Was that 22? Okay. So you can kind of see where we're at. We have a super advantage. Most companies get out there, they have all these build outs, they have all these costs, but they don't have a strategic way to sell their product within the market. That's where we have the luck of the draw, I would say. So I think that we can have our crops sold and our concentrates sold before we even enter the market. And what we do is we throw a nice party. We let people know what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish, that we understand there's no culture within cannabis in Colorado right now, and we want to create that. So we're cutting the businesses out to rely on us, because the only time a business needs you, I'm a business owner of cannabis, I know. I don't typically like pre-pack because I'm medical. I want to change it, and I want to take ownership of that product, and I want to make it mine, and I want people to come back. But on the recreational side of business, people are just dying for something that they can show. All of us love to tell a good story, right? So you have something cool, you say, hey, look at this, I got this from this dispensary, it's super cool, you should go check it out. Your status goes up because you have something cool that you're sharing with your friends, and then we have evangelists and marketing people on the ground for us, which are our consumers. So we do in-store raffles for them. We say, you know what, each month we put $4,000 into marketing. 1,000 of it is gonna go within our product. We have our product that we're gonna raffle off. We're going to throw a party, and we're going to make sure that those consumers, we have their information. That way we can lie to them. So we can say, hey guys, we text our consumer, we're having a drop at such and such dispensary. They're gonna line up for us. Jungle Boys in California is a great source to look at. They have such a big following that when they have a product drop, thousands of people line out these dispensaries. And that's what we need to do here. And Colorado market isn't competing that way. So we have a super, super niche brand that we can do. So we're gonna talk about a little bit of, okay, what's it gonna cost us to operate for the year? What's it gonna cost us to operate for the next 6 months? So as investors, I know how important it is for you to say, okay, well, this facility looks great, these numbers look great, but I wanna see it on paper. Where is the return of investment? How long is it gonna take us to get it back? How much more money do we need to expand that? So we have a separate segment here that kind of talks about those different things. Now, we are doing our best to find the best pricing. So some of those questions are kind of blank on there because we're waiting on contractors, we're waiting on different companies to say, okay, based off of your buying volume, this is what we can do. Most companies just put together a nice portfolio of what they think the cost will be. We're taking it to the next level to negotiate before we buy. So that's gonna give us higher buying power, and it's also gonna help you save on your bottom line. Do you guys have any questions before we go over those documents?
Can we stop this?